Ladies and gentlemen, this is your cruise director. I hope you're prepared for this 3-hour trip.
3? This thing took 6. Hey guys, I'm Tim.
And I'm Bob.
And this is the Board Game Rundown. And today we are going to review Galactic Cruise. Finally. We got our hands on this game. Finally, we've seen this for a couple of years. We hosted these guys at our Origins booth a couple of years ago, back when they had just announced the ENO tool art, but it wasn't official. All they had was sort of the box cover, right?
Right.
So in Galactic Cruise, we are all trying to prove that we are like the best cruise directors so that we can take over the company after, I forget his name now, but King Galactic Cruise retires.
King Galactic. Yes.
So what we're doing is we're going to be launching cruise ships into space, taking all these fine people with us and sort of getting accomplishments by doing so. There's a couple of different tracks that are really important. There's a prestige track here. So depending on where you're at on that prestige track, it's going to make things cheaper to do, potentially.
Yeah, using other people's...
Yes, other
little
people's
gears,
abilities and stuff. Another thing you can do, which is really important, is you can take negative prestige, and when you do that, you are going to gain the benefits of the things you go backwards past. Not forwards, unless you have that ability unlocked. So basically on your turn, you've got this player board here, which is not at all confusing. You have 2 available workers to start. You've got additional workers here on the side that you can unlock. They've got spaces for them that are slotted so that they only fit in the 2 bottom
Yeah, they're
spaces.
bigger. They don't fit in the normal spot.
So they are intentional with that. You've got these gears over here, which are basically like technologies you can upgrade, unlock. And then up here, you're going to have tiles that are going to come off, go on your ships, and then eventually can get placed up here to give you extra
Effects.
one-time use effects or ongoing effects.
Some of them are ongoing, yes.
So one of the cool things this game does do is when you go to a location, you're going to get to do 2 actions. You can do the same action twice. You can pick the top action and the bottom action, or if there is a gear connecting to another location, you can do that adjacent action, top or bottom. If it's your gear, awesome. You don't have to pay anything. But if I use Bob's gear, I've got to pay him depending on where I'm at on the prestige track. So at the beginning, it's 2 credits. So super important to know that, remember that. And then as you put these gears out on the board, the other thing you're doing is you're increasing your capacity for either food, oxygen, or fuel, which looks like blood.
It does look like blood.
And you will need those to
go to space.
Basically, to go to space. How to go to space? You're going to have a basically like the bottom of your rocket and the top of your rocket, the cockpit. And so you're going to take these blueprints via an action right there, right? Like, so this guy right here, take 2 blueprints. You just take them. You don't have to pay for them yet. They're going to get slotted over on the side of your board. And they're going to go over here, because you've got a maximum amount of space you can hold before you got to build them.
1, 2,
5?
5, sir.
5, sir. And they have the cost of the blueprint right there, right? So that is 2 credits, builds that, and then I would gain 2, what is that?
Points. It's worth 2. Well, it's the dark
Just 2
blue.
points?
It'll be at the end of the game or whatever. It's worth 2 points.
Oh, yeah, if I build it, right. So then I get that, and now I can put my burger bar in my ship.
Every spaceship needs a burger bar.
That's true. And you will see on your ships, they have a little half human little person box. And on that little person box, for each complete box you have, you can take a dude with you up into space. So if I also buy the aerial stunt deck, depending on when I go on my cruise and people line up to go on my cruise, right? Like they want to go, as long as I've got room for them, I'll put them on my ship.
No, that bottom one don't have room.
Yeah, I know. I just, for example,
Cheating.
Good Lord. So yeah, and then those guys can go on the thing. The colors do matter because these tiles here have specific colors. So those are the types of people that want to go on these trips.
Right. They're looking. That's what they're looking for in a cruise.
Right. And then there's also these tiles. It's what cruise you're going on. So it's the fuel cost, and then how long of a trip that's going to be. So because beginning of each turn, if you've got a ship in space, you're going to advance your little pilot there one space. So if they land on a space with an icon, you're going to resolve. You can leave them. You can do an excursion.
Yes, you do spend some of your little advertising things, and then they will allow you to do the excursion they have and earn victory points. For them going.
Right.
And
and
if
then
it matches them, it's cheaper because that way it's like, oh, that's what they're wanting to do. It doesn't take much advertising to get them off the boat. But if they're the people that didn't want to go on that cruise specifically, then you got to spend more advertising to get them to go to get the points.
Right. And then if there's a nothing there, right, a nothing space, you get a benefit from this guy, don't you?
Yep. So, so when you're on those spaces there, depending on who you have on your ship, you'll gain those benefits up there, whether it's like gaining advertisement or credits or something else. And they do change up. I guess we did forget to put those tiles out there. But
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
I was like, they don't show me anything, but there are tiles there that you
and one
can
of them's
place
credits,
out.
one of them is advertising, and then the other one might be victory points.
I forget what
the other one
I
was
forget what
there.
third one is. But
Resource, I think.
it's important to have dudes, if you can
Yeah.
mix and match, it's going to give you some variety then, and then you can get those benefits on sort of those downturns.
Right,
And,
and these are starting cruises too, so they've only have like the one extra slot. Some of the more advanced cruises that you'll get, like once these are gone and then new ones come out, they'll have multiple stops on them. So while your worker is busy piloting your ship, he is still gaining you resources and stuff back, and he's not just lying.
Right, right. And then also super important to know is there is a bump mechanic.
Yeah.
So if Bob goes to place a worker there,
Doink.
he bumps me back, and now I get an income.
A break. Yep.
And so I get to choose one of these as an income,
hand
so
on
I
it.
can get a credit and add a point or a resource.
Yep.
And so it's really cool when you can get bumped. You can have up to 3 shuttles built, and they can have a maximum of 3 blueprinted
3
tiles
compartments. Yep.
in there. So that's not counting the booster and the cockpit.
On the bump mechanic, real quick, there's the scientists, and so once you have them unlocked to use as workers, when you bump somebody, you also get to take the income, which is one of the specialty things about them. At least there's a tile that'll go here, and that'll change the effect the scientists have. And the one that we had played with
that was the one we had when we played. Yeah,
I think it's like the recommended starting one. But when you bump somebody, you also get the income, so that's super nice.
So then the other super important thing to note is that this game doesn't have like a set amount of turns,
Right.
but it does have sort of like this achievement track, which works as your game timer.
Mm-hmm.
So every time you launch, right, you get to put a cube out. And once one of those areas gets filled up, you're going to sort of
ends like an era kind of thing.
and you're going to run like some victory
Scoring.
point scoring, which is going to be a multiplier. It's going to be your wings shown times your cubes that you have up there.
Yep.
In that era. Other ways you can get achievements are down here with that tile.
Yep.
So if you've got
Like launch 2, all right, and then you get to put a tile, one of these cubes up there, and then this will move up, and now the next person has to go 3.
right,
Yeah, 3. If you have one of each of those tags and you're in a ship twice, you get to put a cube up there. And then this one, it looks like it's for every set of workers that you have. What I mean, something to that effect. I have to look at the icon up. They got a pretty good breakdown in the book.
yeah. And again, once you have the iconography like down, it's pretty straightforward.
Yep.
Pretty easy to do. Another cool thing you can do, like one of the things I liked was down here.
Yep.
There's that action you could take where you can increase one resource all the way up to the top. And then you are going to gain prestige for doing that. What a good guy. You're giving to everybody else. Then you can take as much as you want of one. You can take 3.
As long as they're available, however you want, mix and match.
Yes. And so that's kind of fun too.
Yep.
Good ways to do it. Oh, and then when you move things up, you're going to get a credit for every space.
For every space that goes up, you'll get paid. Yep.
So it's kind of fun to go and like take 1, 2, 3, right? And then you're going to move one up. Like, so you move one as far down as you can and then
Get a bunch of money.
and then get a bunch of money
refilling
throwing
it
it
up.
back up. So,
There's these cards over here,
Yes.
and so when you go up there, you can take either cards from here or you can draw from the top deck. But then you have to pay extra resources to draw from the top deck. I think you pay a prestige to do that. But then once these have open spaces, the refill action, you're going to gain these resources as you draw new cards and put them out. You'll get to gain what you're covering up. So that's kind of a neat mechanism to refill the, I kind of want some resources, plus I want to draw cards. So yeah, I'm going to refill that up, then draw something.
Right.
And then the cards can either be used for the ability on them or discarded for the resource that's on the bottom of the card. So multi-purpose.
Multi-purpose cards. It's very useful. Very useful. So that is a very brief overview on how to play Galactic Cruise. It's once you kind of, again, get through the teach and the understanding of the iconography, it's not too bad as far as understanding. There are a lot of things to consider while you're playing, though, right?
There's a lot of minutia.
There is a lot of minutia. You must, when you launch a ship, absolutely to the T, follow the order in which they've got it laid out.
And remember, countdowns don't go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
They go
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Because if you skip a step, you will miss something very important.
Yep,
And
for sure.
it will either mess up your scoring, it'll mess up, just something you're supposed to do while you are doing the launch. It's very easy to miss a step.
Yes.
And they, for that reason, I believe, put it right here on the player board.
Yep.
And like Bob said, you start at the bottom. It's numbered in a fashion of a countdown.
Yes.
And so very, very brief overview on sort of how to play. There's a couple of videos out there which are probably really good to watch that can really get you through it. But be prepared for a longer teach.
It's going to take whoever somebody who's played the game a whole lot, it's probably going to be at least 30 to 60 minutes to get a full thorough teaching of how to play the game.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. For me, I probably could have just used like a 20-minute and then just start playing.
Start taking actions and then start explaining things as you're taking actions.
Yeah, because it can be overwhelming, right?
Eyes glaze over.
Well, once you explain
how
some
you
of these
take
things,
turns.
Once you start getting into like how you launch shuttles, and it's like, wait a minute, I don't even remember how to get the stuff I need to launch the shuttles. So... I mean, learn at your pace, learn it the way you need to learn. We had a very good teacher. We had a great teach, but it took a lot of time.
It's a lot thrown at you, and it's hard to catch all of it.
It's like drinking from a fire hose.
That's right. So a lot all at once.
But anyways, Bob, why don't you give me some of your thoughts on Galactic Cruise?
Sure. Very crunchy, and it's very Lacerda-esque. I do really enjoy Lacerdas. What I was doing felt like it made sense, right? I'm getting blueprints. I can put them here. You can build straight from the cube, but it costs you a little bit of reputation and extra money. Gaming, make sure I have enough resources to be able to go to space, picking what trip I want to go on. Like what I was doing, it felt really good. My two biggest complaints would be that it took like 5 to 6 hours to play this game. That felt long to me. At the very beginning, it was kind of a slog, like to kind of get going. Once we started going, those like eras 2 and 3, like lasted the whole entire time that the turn era 1 did.
Yeah.
So that first era, I mean, it only has 4 cubes on here now because this is like the 2-player one. When you have a 4-player one, there's like 6 or 8 squares there, and so it takes a lot longer to fill that up and then move on. And the other thing that felt weird to me were the rooms, and so you need 2 rooms to host 1 person and 3 rooms to host 2. It just felt odd that I had to build 2 rooms to get 1 guy to space. And I feel like it would maybe speed it up if like each room could hold a person, and then that half person was maybe like a bonus person that you could take.
If you could make it so you could build more you're rewarded more for building more rooms.
Right.
It would give you more resources, which would then speed up the game because you can do stuff faster.
Right. So I mean, maybe it's worth trying that. I don't know if I'd dedicate like the whole 4 hours to trying that, but at least give it a spin, and see how it goes. And if I could get a game that's done in 2 hours, because it says, what does it say in the box?
90 to 150.
I mean, maybe if you got 2 people who know what they're doing, you get it done in that amount of time. But there is a lot going on.
I mean, 150 is probably a minimum for a 4-player game that people that know
what they're going on and they stay on.
Minimum.
Done. Your turn. I'm done. Your turn. Make sure the person knows it's their turn. You don't want to lose that time in between. Because, like I said, there's just a lot going on. You got to make sure you're building up your resources, getting your gears out there.
And also, right, in our game that we played, that 6-hour game, there weren't any really long turns.
No.
Everybody was going and doing stuff.
Things. Yeah, it's not
even in the learning game, right? Like there might have been a few times where it's like, okay, what does this do one more time? But the explanation was right there.
Right.
And then
it's not like we stop hang on 20 minutes on a rule book.
No.
None of that. Yeah.
None of that.
So yeah, it definitely. I want to say a second. overstayed its welcome a little bit. You know what I mean? If I'm playing like 6 hours, I want to play this big, massive war game or something.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that, you know
yeah.
what I mean? But like I said, I did enjoy what I was doing. I thought it was really neat to move the guy down and like plan. You know, okay, I want to claim this cruise. I'm going to spend
Right.
advertising to try to recruit certain people to that cruise, and then make sure I have to build rooms to get them. Yeah, so you know the multi-use cards are really neat. We didn't even go over these little technologies at the top. So once you have technologies up here, then they're like give you like discounts. Or let
Yeah,
you do
because you can
things.
place your gear instead of placing it here to like make an ability adjacent. You
Right.
can go there.
Right.
You can also pay somebody to use their
them.
ability, which
Right,
is really nice.
Really neat. So you don't necessarily have to do it yourself. As long as you have some sort of a credit engine, you can you know give that to them. I really think that like this part here is cool. Where like when you go to put your guy over here, first when you claim a cruise, you're going to flip one of these things over, and then you're going to get the benefit that it says on there. And if you do one of these up here, you're not going to be able to claim that income while that's still there, and then you won't be able to get it back until you've launched your ship. So if you use your, especially like your credits one or your money one or your advertising one, like early, you might really stifle the rest of your game because you're like, crap, I really need a good way to get money. I mean, there's this, but that's one of your basic ways. When somebody bumps your worker, come back, you're getting credits.
But once you launch that ship,
But once you launch that ship, the one underneath it, now you're going to get 2. So you really want to make sure you have that time to where when you flip that over, you're going to be launching soon.
Right.
So that way you are freeing that space up. But then when your ship comes back, this guy is going to go out here, and depending on who you have, you're going to put it out of space and claim that ability, which the way everything just interacts is super interesting. Like, you know, I got this ability here early where now as I move my reputation forward, I was gaining all that stuff.
Right.
And that was really, you know, a nice source of income. So there's a lot of strategy options, a lot going on. I don't necessarily think that maybe screwing something up that early would taint the whole game. Like, man, I'm so far behind now. I don't know if I can catch up.
Right.
Because like I thought we made ahead of a runaway leader, but the final score was still pretty close.
it got close.
It got
I
close.
was a lot closer than I thought I was going to be.
Yeah. I had some end game points.
I had
that
some
helped
decent
that,
end game points.
Catch up.
Yeah, so I guess if I could play this game in like 2 to 3 hours,
Yeah.
I'd really love it.
Yep.
But you can't.
You'd be hard pressed.
You'd be hard pressed, and this would almost have to be a lifestyle game for you to get it down to that.
Right.
Because anytime you're playing with new players,
You got to go with that teach.
you're going to go through that teach. You're playing with anybody with AP, yeah,
Yeah.
you're done. Forget about it.
Yep.
I need this game to be faster. I need that engine to ramp up quicker. I
Right.
think if you could do that and you could get those resources, I could be wrong, but I believe that would speed everything up, and then you are going to be getting through the game faster because everything I was doing was interesting.
Right.
And I felt useful. Like my turns felt useful. I opted to like throw all my gears out on the board early, and other guys like I don't even think I launched a ship till the second
You
age.
didn't. No.
You
Yeah,
know,
you're like, okay, wait, I want to try and launch a ship.
Yeah, I needed to try to launch a ship.
Yeah.
And just so I could experience it. But then the problem is for me is that all of that build up to launch a ship, and I don't think I got enough for it because I could only put 1 or 2 guys on the ship.
Right.
And all that work just to put 2 dudes on a ship
Right.
to get a couple of things there, it was not worth it.
Yeah.
You needed to be able to put more dudes on the ship. 100%. Like, without a doubt, you need to be able to put more dudes on the ship. Because it wasn't hard to get them on the ship. It's not hard to claim a cruise. I mean,
Right.
it's an action.
Yeah.
You know?
Recruit 2 people to it. Okay, there's the 2 people.
Easy. It's
the hardest
easy.
part is to get the resources, but the fact that you can use cards for resources, you can clear these gears out to be able to hold more resources.
Yes.
And then some of these cards are like you can pay money instead of paying resources. So like, yeah, I could have had like 4 or 5 people on a ship and really, you know, got a bunch for that ship going out. And then once it hit those different stops and I'm gaining all that income back in, like, man, that would have been a nice windfall, you know?
Right. And then again, right, you're not like 3 turns of grinding and building up.
And 2 guys go.
Bye.
Yeah.
See you guys in a couple turns.
Bon voyage. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was too slow of a build-up. I don't know if there's just like one mechanic too many, because it is kind of tedious in a way for me. Like all of the things you need to launch a ship, and the payoff just isn't there.
Right.
Because all the actions here are awesome. I love taking
this felt really good.
I love chaining all of these actions
Yep,
together.
I'm gonna go here and do this one, or I'm gonna go here and do this one, or I'll do this one twice because I need those things.
Yeah, I really like that. I really like that.
And these are all double-sided, and so they can move around. You can mix different things with different things each time, so it really kind of changes the game up. So it's not like a same obvious first turn every time because unless you get two things. Oh, I know it's gonna be good. I need to build the gears, and I want to. I don't know what's a good one. Get some blueprints or get these resources, right?
Right.
Boom. I'm gonna be doing this action like a lot because I want to gain resources, advertising, and build my gears out there. So I mean, it's.
Well, and I was even like, it took one of the reasons why it took me longer to launch was I was drafting or taking these more expensive tiles because they had like 2 dudes on it.
Right.
Like 2 different options.
Right.
For
Yeah.
people.
Like an orange guy or a purple guy.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, cool. I'm going to build that up. But then it's like, oh, well, I can take one of each.
Right.
Hooray.
Yeah. Just because you have 2 icons on there doesn't mean you can take one of each of those guys. You're really only getting a half a guy for that room.
Yeah. It's just really frustrating. I also kind of feel like it's a little tedious with okay, I flip this over. I assign it to my ship. Now, when that ship gets to a thing, now I put it up here,
No, it's over here.
or up here. Yeah, either way. So it's a point later. But now it's like, okay, I don't know. It just was a lot of work to get
Those off of there.
these off of there and then for them to do what you need. Like, if you're going to be able to launch right away, like, cool. Get rid of these top ones so you can get the better versions of those actions.
Right.
But it takes a long time to get there. I mean, you're 2 hours in before you're launching a ship
Yeah.
because of everything you need to do.
Especially with the teach included. I mean, you could just build the 2 rooms, put 1 guy on there, and launch a ship, but then you're really not getting much for it by the time.
Yeah,
it gets back.
it feels like a waste.
And you're down that your pilot. One of your workers is your pilot, so now they're gone for 2-3 turns,
Right.
waiting for it to come back, and it's like, okay, I have 1 worker. I hope somebody bumps me. Oh, they didn't. I guess I'll have to recall that 1 worker. Yeah.
Yeah, and then but the nice thing is when you recall the 1 worker, you do get that income
get the
phase,
income, which is
and you
nice.
get to pick 1 action on the board to take.
Yeah.
And you can take that action without having to bump anybody. So it's not bad. You get
Right.
2 things still, right?
Yep.
But it's just a grind for me to get there with the time that you've invested. There are just other heavy, crunchy games that I would rather play that would play faster and sort of scratch
that itch still.
same interesting, like lots of interesting things to do on your turn.
That fuzzy part of your brain back there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I think, the game's beautiful and it does a lot of really good things.
Yeah,
But
I mean, the book they got the linen finish on all the paper, it's super high quality stuff. Like these bits are chonky. These guys are nice. The dual-layer player boards are nice. They lay flat. They don't curl.
the deluxe edition's absolutely beautiful, too. I'll
Yeah.
tell you, those credits,
Oh yeah, I like the credits.
the metal credits were really cool, and the
Plastic.
the acrylic,
Acrylic.
or ad tiles are really nice.
Yeah, they make click, 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 click.
I mean, but
The boxes are nice. They let you instead of having to stack tiles up, which I hate stacking tiles because they're going to fall over the place.
Right.
They give you those nice boxes, and it makes it super easy to
It does.
have them in there and then dispense from there. And
they did a lot of things really
right.
well.
Yeah.
For me, though, it's just not worth all of the
Lids. The lids
effort.
stay on.
Yeah, good lids. I was waiting for that to go horribly wrong.
I was.
But yeah, so I mean, it's Galactic Cruise. We were at a small convention when we played it, and there was like 4 games of this going on.
Yeah, at least 3 or 4 games going on at one time. Now that could also be that everybody's been wanting to play it, and it does take a long time. So it's not like you're like, oh, we're playing this 3-minute game. There's a whole bunch of people playing at the same time.
No.
We're gonna play it for 6 hours, and other people are playing it. There's a lot of chance for overlap.
Yeah.
There were a lot of copies there, and it was getting played quite a bit because people wanted to check it out.
So I guess as we get into the part where we're going to give our rating, I just say you keep some of those things in mind, right? It is a hot game. It's crunchy. I would almost just say, though, that unlike, I don't know, I feel like I can learn. There's a couple of Lacerdas that I played, and I feel like I can learn them, and I can play them, and I don't feel like it has to be a lifestyle game. There's some heavier games that we've gotten into lately and been playing that I really like, but I'm really comfortable teaching it, and we're done in 2.5 hours.
Right.
And I feel like it's as crunchy as this, and I get the same experience for half the time, even with teaching. So this one, much more than some of those other ones, I think really benefit from you just playing this and only this a bunch of times over and over with people that are familiar with it already.
With the game already.
Or are getting familiar with it the same time you are. What are you going to say?
No, I was going to say, because I can see like somebody who's played this 3 or 4 times and they bring somebody new in there, that new person's going to be at a pretty distinct disadvantage.
Oh, yeah. Also true. Also true. But I will say, like in our game that we played, we played with 2 people that have played it before a few times, and then Bob and I were learning it, and we were competitive. We were. So I'll give them credit for that, between the teach and also just the way the scoring works. And I don't really feel like it was necessarily a catch-up mechanic as much as leaning into different sort of strategies, because I had cleared out all my gears. I had all my gears gone. That got me a ton of points.
30 points.
Right at the end, right? So that was really helpful, to get those 30 points at the end. It was a nice boost. There was a couple other things I got points for that felt pretty good, So again, sometimes if you play a game and there's like I'm going to get rid of all these gears because that's going to give me a bunch of points. And it's like, well, that's not really a good strategy to win. Well, then it's like, well, what's that there for?
Right.
So I did feel like that strategy is competitive if you're doing things the right way and capitalizing on things. But a lot going there.
Yeah, I mean, if you could have more dudes on your ship, then you would have gotten, more points for sending them on their cruises. So,
way more.
Yeah.
Way more. But, all right, Bob.
Yeah.
We need to rate this game.
We do.
How do we do that at the Board Game Rundown?
We're going to give it a score between 0 and 10. We do use 0.5s. We're going to take those scores, average them together, and that will be what the Board Game Rundown gives it. And you can find that score on BGG or ask us in the Discord. And, we'll tell you.
Yeah, we will tell you. All right, Bob.
That's me.
You definitely had a better experience with this than me. So what is your score?
Well, so my score, if it's a lot of things I base it on, right, is do I want it in my collection? Is it a game I'm going to reach for? Is it a game I take with me all the time? I don't necessarily see me reaching for this game, very often. I would like it in my collection. I think it's nice. I think it's beautiful. I would like to play it more. But with the, barrier to entry being as high as it is, it's a 7.5 for me.
Sure. So kind of like those things. I guess I wouldn't decline to play this again, but if I never played it again, I'd be fine.
Right. You're not gonna break your heart.
No, but I mean, I think circumstantially, I would play somebody else's copy.
Sure.
Like, hey, we're all gonna play Galactic Cruise. People are gonna come prepared. Right. I want some of those caveats. I don't want to play that. This is a game that I 100% do not want to play with strangers.
I would say no randos. Yeah.
No randos, because I don't want.
Don't know what you're getting into then.
Yeah, I don't need those wild cards.
You don't want to be rude and be like, dude, take your turn. If it's you, Tim, I'm going to tell you to take your turn.
Exactly. Like, Bobby, come on, man. Let's go.
Yeah, just go. Fast and sloppy. Come
on. We can have that dynamic because we're not going to cry about it later.
I mean, I might, but I won't tell him about it.
Yeah, fair. Fair. And I don't want to hear about it.
So that works.
No, I mean, this is like a 5.5 for me. Yeah. I think it's I think it's one too many things. If it was faster, there'd be 2 points higher easily. If you could get this game to actually what's on the box.
Sure.
Maybe even higher, but
yeah. I say if it was one that it was played in about 2 hours, it would definitely have been like an 8.5.
Yeah, if you could play it in 2 hours, I'd want it in my collection.
It feels like it overstays. Yeah, it overstays its welcome. So.
Even 2.5 hours, I'd want it in my collection.
Yeah.
But I don't because it's not that. It's probably 3 to 4 hours minimum. Even if you're playing with people that know what they're doing.
Right, and then you add in basically, the teach plus 30 minutes to set it up, plus 30 minutes to put it away.
Yeah, lots of that.
There's a lot going on.
And they do a great job with the inserts.
If you didn't have an insert and storage system as good as this was, it would be even worse.
It would be.
Here's the baggie. Start putting things in there.
Yeah.
But the trays are really nice. The player trays are really nice.
They're great.
There's just so much to put out and put away and everything else.
They're great. Yeah, they really. This is really well made, especially for a first-time group.
Yeah.
They did great. But for me, it is just not worth all the effort.
Sure.
But I would definitely play whatever their next game is. I'd definitely try it out.
They got some good stuff going on.
There's some great dudes behind this game. I genuinely really like them quite a bit and was really excited to play Galactic Cruise. But it didn't live up to the hype, and it was just a little too...
Squeeze
Not
Juice wasn't worth the squeeze.
That's right.
That's what I was looking for.
That's right.
So if you average our score together, that's a 6.5. So
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Mike almost played this and then kind of saw it.
He was kind of sitting on the teach and whatnot, and he was kind of like, I think I'm gonna go do a couple other things instead. So
yeah, but we really wanted to get this review out. I knew we'd have a little bit of mixed feelings, but I feel like that provides you a good a spectrum. You know what I mean? So you can kind of see where we're coming at and what we liked and disliked about it.
I'm definitely more of the Lacerda person.
For sure, for sure. But man, when I find a really like crunchy game that I enjoy, I want to play it all the time.
Sure,
you know.
that's fair. Like you said, 2.5 hours.
Yeah, absolutely.
This was about twice that.
Yeah, easily. Right.
That's not twice that. Oh, it was 20 minutes. It lasted 40. It was twice that.
Well,
2.5
like we
lasted
play
2.5.
Ostia, right? And Ostia is a longer, crunchy game. But I, without
Never
batting an eye,
once, complain about the length of time that takes.
no, because it's so much fun and it's so fulfilling, and it's also so much faster.
yeah. I mean, the thing is, the other thing about that is you can kind of stretch it out and make it take even longer.
Oh, you can.
Yeah,
you can.
Or you can be with somebody who just pushes the end game.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
But you can kind of do this with this too a little bit, right? If you just build the smallest one and just sent one person each time and just kept pushing those cubes and pushing end game, you could do that.
Yeah, it's just a lot of work even to get one person on that shuttle.
Sure is. I mean, you need less food.
You would need less food.
But yeah.
But anyways, guys, so for better or for worse, here's our Galactic Cruise review. I would say don't buy the hype. Check it out for yourself and just make your own decision.
Yep. I think that might be part of its thing too, is it's been hyped a lot.
So much
it's
hype.
Like, it's pump the brakes. It's not bad, but it does overstay.
You don't need to burn down your collection because you got Galactic Cruise now.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know,
You're
like,
going to want to have other games too.
Yeah. But I do, again.
I can see the appeal.
I will say, though, lifestyle game. Like, this is a game, and there's game groups that will just get, they get that one game and they just want to play that one game over and over
again
until they're done with it, and then they want to play a new game.
Yep.
Probably good for that.
Yeah, hegemony. I know people like that.
Right.
Because it's super asymmetrical, and people will learn their factions. They want to keep playing that game over and over again, which I like playing it, but I like to play other games too.
100%.
So
100%. And it'd be nice to play like more than one game in a day.
Exactly. Yeah.
Anyways, guys, that's enough of me being cranky. But anyways, this has been Galactic Cruise by Kinson Key Games. Again, great dudes. Love the guys.
Yeah, super nice guys.
And a beautiful looking game. So that's all I got for the board game rundown. I've been Tim.
Bob.
He was your cruise director.
I was.